Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead, another episode of On the Wrong Lead Live. You know, I was talking with my friend Louis Rabot yesterday, and I was telling him that we're currently in the spring of deception here in the Midwest. We get this like random week where out of nowhere it's like 60 and like beautiful out, and then we're gonna get hit with snow or just really crappy weather here in over the weekend, right? Um, but I thought that it was kind of funny that it also coincides with the weekend of deception in the Derby prep season, where I thought that like Gotham was this weekend or something else was this weekend, and sure enough, no, not very many Derby preps going on this weekend. So we are in the midst of Derby weekend of deception. Mr. Mark Capitan, you actually asked me like, "Hey, why did you pick these races?" Until you realize that they are 20-point races. So we do have some 20-point races coming
I
up
was
here.
shocked these were Derby preps. You threw some things out. I was like, I've never heard of these races. I didn't realize these races even existed. These are Derby preps, and then you're like, oh yeah, they have points. And then I was okay. Well, I guess we're gonna talk about them. I should say Derby and Oaks points.
Yep.
Yep, so two of them. So yeah, we're talking a little Turfway. Then we're gonna talk actually some fun, profitable racing, and talk a little the Santa Anita Turf Pick 3, which is probably the best bet in racing these days. And you can toss it up to either the Santa Anita Turf Pick 3 or the late Pick 3 at Santa Anita, both of which have the higher base wager and have been paying just absolutely stupidly for what they are. Super approachable wagers. And a couple of us have both had some really nice scores. I think Caleb hit one for really, really nice. I had one that was really good. So those are fun wagers to play. I don't want to dunk on the Derby season, Derby prep. It's just a soft weekend. It's a weekend sort of between major Derby preps. We'll have some bigger races coming on the following weekend, and then we start really kind of getting rolling into the season. So we're putting out content as we are wont to do.
Yeah, I'm a complete sicko. So like you're talking about the late Turf Pick 3. I want them to do it at Turfway with these like 12 and 14 horse fields. Like just give me just fuck my shit up, fam. Like let's go.
Just give it to me. Yeah, yeah.
Caleb, yeah, it's funny because most of the reason why I took a look at this, or I wanted to take a look at this, the Santa Anita Turf Pick 3, is because Caleb, I believe you said, screw all the other tracks. I'm only playing Santa Anita from now on. If I were smart.
See, that last statement is doing a lot of the lifting of that phrase. Those little three words at the end.
Dude, I've been playing that Oak Lawn late pick 3, and
Whew.
I don't understand what is going on at Oak Lawn sometimes, man. It's just,
It is a difficult track. I feel like it's the one track in the country for me that plays the least representative of speed figures, where all the other angles, are still kind of apply for the most part. But I mean, you really got to get into the weeds to find some of these runners at Oak Lawn off, surface switch, stretch outs, troubled trips. I mean, yeah, that kind of stuff. Because the figures and kind of simple analysis just doesn't ever get me there.
But the other problem with Oaklawn is it seems like the betting public there's way smarter than I am, because they will bet down horses that I'm like, it feels like Keeneland in the spring, where you're like, why is this horse taking money? These horses all look the same, and then suddenly the horse that's taking money wins at half the price you think they should be, and you're like, I couldn't come up with that with with a Ouija board or something. Like it just makes no sense. So Oaklawn's a tough track. People who play Oaklawn and do well there, all the respect in the world to you. You are way smarter than I am. But that's a low bar. So.
and I'm glad now all three of us are here, because I do want to pose an important question. And once again, I got to shout out my friend Louis at Radio Louis on Twitter, because he asked me this question yesterday, and I was like, I think it's a good question because obviously right now we're going to be talking about Turfway, right? We got the Cincinnati Trophy, we got the John Battaglia, the preps for the bigger Derby and Oaks preps. The stakes as Mark likes to call it, and you know, I think in the past we would just kind of poo poo the Turfway horses, right? But I don't know, Caleb. Do you think that now we have to kind of respect some of these Turfway horses a little bit more? Do you think that that with the fact of it being now 100-point prep, and I mean, we've seen well, first of all, we've seen a Derby winner out of the Turfway races in the last couple of years, much to everyone's chagrin and Mattress Mac chagrin, unfortunately for him. But I mean, as recent as a couple of years ago, two Phils came out from that race and ran a hell of a race in the Derby. So, you think these Turfway horses are starting to get a little bit more legit now?
Yeah, I do. I mean, and I think it was also kind of a matter of time, just with the purses they're offering at Turfway right now. I mean, if you look at the next race that's about to go off, tonight essentially, race 8. I mean, it's an N1X, allowance basically with $102,000 purse. I mean, for a $25,000, optional claiming race, I think that's drawn a lot of higher talent to the races here. I also think that when Churchill Downs took over Turfway Park, they've kind of resurfaced it, kind of made it a bit more of a racing product people want to run at. So I do. I mean, I think you pointed out two Phils. I mean, last year I think we saw Final Gambit. I think it was the Turfway horse kind of make a big run to get up for 4th, or I think it was 4th. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that I think it's highly likely that we're going to see the next Derby winner come from a Turfway prep or even in the near future. I do tend to think the horses that go here are mostly, or oftentimes kind of either turf horses that want to sneak their way into the Derby just because, or maybe kind of that second tier of contenders who probably don't want to go tangle in the Florida Derby or Arkansas Derby. So instead they kind of go here and try to, maybe duck a few of the big runners and hope take their chances for Saturday in May. But I do think the talent pool has moved considerably up, and I certainly think they're usable on Derby Day, especially underneath kind of plays. But I don't know that I think we're going to get a Derby winner out of Turfway in the next, couple of years.
Mark?
A similar take. I think you've seen some movement in, where major preps have taken. Obviously, races like the Gotham, have dropped off a cliff. The Naira preps have become absolute garbage coming out of the duct. We haven't seen a winner there since Secretariat or something.
I mean, last year we would have had a winner, but
stop it. And you've seen also a lot of the other preps coming out of some of the smaller tracks that have definitely diminished in their stature. So you've really seen Oaklawn, Florida, Southern California be the 3 major prep circuits. I think Turfway has sort of taken up that next tier, that the top of the B tier tracks, just on the purse sizes. They're putting big payouts out there. There's a lot of money to be made. And if you have that horse that you want to say that you ran the first Sunday in May or first Saturday in May, it's the best of the other horses. And I to Caleb's point, I do tend to agree. I don't think you're going to have a Derby winner coming out of a Turfway prep or a Turfway race anytime soon. But I think you'll have a bunch of them clunk up and hit the Super.
I do want to correct you. We're not going to have another Derby winner out of a Turfway prep.
What one have we had?
Rich Strike. You're completely blanking that one out, huh?
Yeah, I'm just
that doesn't sound
blanking
familiar.
that one out, huh?
I've never heard of that horse. That never happened.
You mean Epicenter, right?
I do like Penn State Scott's question. He says, "Evening, boys. What variant of COVID does Caleb have that's lasting 15 weeks?" So normally he asks what we're drinking, but Caleb, I'm guessing that you got he's asking what variant of COVID you got right now. So
yeah, no COVID. Upper respiratory is actually in decent shape. Other than maybe a bit of allergies, but yeah, stomach's a little off today, so going to be a little cautious about food and beverage for the evening.
Yeah, I saw you with some
tea
there.
How do you have allergies in the middle of February?
Because it's been 60-something degrees all winter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Apparently, I'm the only one that's been actually had a real winter.
We don't have real winter this year in Colorado. Yeah. I mean, today
Yeah,
it's
you moved to
cold.
Colorado and it stopped snowing there.
I
It's
know.
just highly entertaining.
Penn State Scott actually. So this was actually one of the points I brought up with Louis yesterday was, with Belmont adding the synth surface. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what happens because now you're gonna have Gulfstream Park, you're gonna have Turfway. You get Woodbine that takes a break during some of the winter months, but they run a lot of the some of the colder months, and then it's going to go into Belmont's going to be added to that. So now you're basically going to have, you know, four big circuits with the synth track. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens with that. And I do think that Belmont's probably adding that synthetic track to kind of keep some of the local horses or some of the trainers like a Mike Maker or
Chad.
Chad, having him run some of his horses, keep more of their horses in New York. But because I mean, Mike Maker, he ships a ton to Turfway,
Yeah,
and
it is.
and like Wesley Ward, like he, he's Kentucky based, but he'll run a couple in New York, and obviously in Saratoga he runs a bunch. But
Yeah.
I think if there were some races in Belmont, he'd probably keep a couple more horses in New York.
We're
too,
actually going
so.
to get to talk about one of his horses in the next race. So it'd be fun.
But oh yeah, he's saying Gulfstream TBD.
Yeah, fair.
Look, I swear to
Yeah,
God,
fair. Very
I
fair.
swear to God, if I have to take a work trip to Miami before and Gulfstream Park is no longer like open when that happens, I'm gonna be very, very upset.
You know when you could have taken a work trip or a trip to Miami like last year to go to Andy's birthday party. And you could have visited
Charfilly
Gulfstream
asking,
as well did.
gentlemen,
So,
should Baeza have stayed in California?
things nobody cares about. Go on.
I mean, I don't care if he stays in California, really. I mean, because I'm glad he didn't go to Baffert, right? So I mean, at least there's that. But it really sucks that he went to Bill Mott because, like, you're probably never going to see Sovereignty and Baeza race again. So that's kind of a bummer from a fan standpoint. You're taking probably two of the biggest names in racing right now, and you'll probably won't see them run against each other again. But if I'm the owner, I mean, I'm going to put him wherever I think is the best fit. So I guess I can't judge too harshly. But as a fan, it's disappointing. Yeah.
Mark doesn't care. Mark, you're just done with that
Don't
horse
care.
after you bet
I
bet
just
that horse
don't
so
care.
many times last year.
Exactly. I
know.
don't care at this
Yeah,
point.
you just got burned. I'll put a check mark next to the Mark Stray if is possible because we mentioned Baeza, so I think that.
We went to Baeza.
that-
Yeah, you got
that
the
counts
march
that,
around
but,
there. Yep. Nice job. Well done.
But Mark, we'll let you get started here. We got 12 minutes to post at race 8 here at Turfway. So why don't we talk about one of these Derby these preps coming up here? We have the Cincinnati Trophy, which is
The Oaks prep would be
Yes,
not
the
the
Oaks
Derby.
prep here.
They're not the same thing. But technically, one of these horses could, I guess, go to the Derby if they jumped over and ran on the stakes or something. Anyways, I thought the Cincinnati Trophy. Kind of an interesting race, and I think it's one of those races where you sort of have to decide. First off, that there should be a pretty fair pace in here, and I think there's the race when at least when I looked at it, I got down to two horses, and I didn't really feel like I needed anybody beyond that. It's probably your first and second choice. That's a 3-horse Coca Connect, and the probably your favorite horse, Dame Laura, the 8. I thought both of them kind of stood out over this field. But it's one of those situations where you have a big field here. You have 11 horses. I wouldn't fault anybody for trying to, find a price or try to find a new face. But, I thought Coconut Connect was kind of the speed. You're getting a horse. Let's see if this one can stretch out. That's always the question here. But the horse is 2 for 2 in the last two at Turfway. And then you have Dame Laura, who is a horse that came from well out of it last time. It takes a step up in class, but does have the win over the surface. And you see Morales hop off the 3 and get on the 8. So I would assume he thinks that the 8 is his best option here. But honestly, after I get past those two, I just didn't really find. I felt like the rest of the field looked the same. I'm hoping you guys have some sort of expert opinion or some sort of legitimate take here on a way to go beyond the two shortest prices in this race, or what I assume would be the two shortest prices. So I'll throw it over to one of you guys. I didn't have a great take on this, and I didn't have anybody I loved here.
Caleb?
Yeah, I probably saw the race somewhat similar to Mark. I think Dame Laura will be difficult to beat. She just smashed a field the first time she got on synthetic here at Turfway last time out. Did everything she was supposed to do. I mean, she's been super consistent. I mean, looking back at her running lines, I mean, it always shows up. I mean, that second against Keeneland came against Sister Troen, who's kind of turned into a win machine down in Florida recently. It's a Godolphin homebred here. There's just a lot to like. I'm not particularly creative in this race. I think she's your most likely winner. Mark's pick, Coco Connect. I have nothing really against the horse. I'd be just hesitant to maybe take the horse as second pick, which I assume she will be, kind of stretching out for the first time. Maybe mixed signals there on pedigree, although it kind of seems like she ought to handle it. Her one time going 2 turns in her career was pretty poor. So, albeit on dirt. So, I mean, she's fine. I'm nothing really against her. I just wouldn't want a short price on her. If I was going to look for a price, I mean, it probably would be the number 11 Resist. I'm not sure you actually get 10-1 on this horse, but maybe you do get 6-1 or something like that. I mean, that last race is, there's a number of horses that are exiting that common race that was won by Resist. And normally you go back and watch a race and it's like, well, this horse won, but the horse you really wanted is this other horse. But I think Resist is actually just the horse that you want out of that race. I mean, came from, fairly far back, was super wide, made a big sustained run on the outside, got it done pretty professionally. I mean, undefeated from 2 starts at Turfway, gets the distance here. The post is a little bit tricky, will lose ground, with that run style from this post. Probably not good enough to beat a horse like Dame Laura while spotting ground from the outside, but is one that I do think offers some value as a price. So for me, I mean, I like Dame Laura, and then maybe Resist is a bit of an outsider.
Yeah, I don't think I really have anything too much to add here. I think Dame Laura looks tough, for all the reasons Mark already mentioned. And I think the only other 2 alternatives to me are the 2 outside horses, the 10 Map of the Moon and the 11 Resist. Time form, I mean, the 10 is 3 for 3 at 3 different tracks on 2 different surfaces, and I don't know, like Time form's got basically every single race this horse has been coded red, right? So like clearly, right, this is a horse that's coming from off the pace. You kind of got to think like, well, has this horse just kind of been set up in every one of these races? What's kind of going on? But I think with Turfway, you really got to go back and you got to look at the races that these horses are coming out of, because we've had so many days at Turfway where speed has just been gold. I feel like it's been way more than normal. For some reason, normally that means I'm making money, but for some reason I haven't been able to make any money at Turfway because just the horses I think that are going to get to lead don't go. But it kind of makes me want to, I guess, upgrade horses like the 10 and the 11, like Map of the Moon and Resist. But Dame Laura's basically done the same thing, right? Closing on just regular fractions. And if you kind of look at that race, I mean, it didn't really fall apart. I mean, I guess the leaders, kind of backed up a little bit, but the 9 Conceit was basically right up on the pace, and so was the 5. So it wasn't really like, that race completely fell apart. Yeah, I like the 8 and the 11 probably the most. Maybe have a little bit of the 10, depends on what kind of bet I'm trying to play, but those are really the only horses I was interested in here.
So I figured you guys would be a little more creative in here. That's why I didn't wax poetically about any of the other horses in here. But to Penn State Scott's point here, don't you have to like Lovely Gray, the 2 here? If you're somebody who's making a case for Resist, isn't isn't the 2 a very, very similar horse in this kind of a spot? Kelsey Danner's absolutely been on fire at Turfway. Ramos has been riding, very well for her at least, with a stupid ROI over the last year. Honestly, not even just at Turfway overall. And this is a horse that I don't think needs to take a huge step forward to be a player here. I don't know if second time synthetic is an angle or not, but I thought Lovely Gray was also a little bit at least usable in this kind of a spot. Especially if you like somebody like Resist from the outside. You kind of have to give Lovely Gray a little bit of look.
Yeah, I thought she was fine. I thought, like I said, watching the replay back, I mean, I do think Resist probably had the more difficult trip, but given the post positions here, I don't think the margin was all that significant. So I have nothing against the 2 horse here.
Yeah, I mean, you should kind of set a trip as well. If there's enough pace in here to really make it come apart, or not even really make it come apart a little bit, it should set the 2 up, but probably the 11 as well. So,
I guess we didn't really talk about the pace too much in here. I know Timeform's got it coded fast, but I don't know, man. Like the more I look at it,
yeah,
I don't really like, and like Timeform's even got like the 3 and the 10 on the lead. I think there's a shot that this Lobo horse, the 1, maybe goes to the lead. Like, granted, if you're a pace figure believer, right? Like, you're like, well, this horse doesn't look fast enough. But I mean, those last 2 races at first call and second call, and at the top of the stretch, this horse was in first. So, maybe.
well,
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, no, to your point, the 3 and the 10 have not been horses that have shown the tendency to go to the front end. They've just been forwardly placed. I do tend to agree with you. I think somebody like the 1 might go to the lead. Now, I don't think the 1 can win, but I think the 3 and the 10 kind of can stalk. But I think where you were kind of going, or I assume where you were going here, is that it's coded fast on paper, but do we really think this is sets up to melt down, or we think this is just like an honest pace on the front end, and somebody like the 3 could kind of set that stalking trip just off the 1 and kind of wear the race, or shouldn't say wear the race, but kind of stalk and take over the top of the stretch kind of a thing. And I kind of have the same thought about somebody like the 10. So I don't. I think it's coded as a fast pace, but I don't necessarily know if it is. These are light enoughly raced horses that I don't necessarily think they have a defined style of how they want to run. So, could it be fast? Sure, but I don't think that's as much of a given as you would say looking at something like Timeform.
Yeah, a lot of pressers going sprinter route in that race, which for me always makes the pace scenario a little difficult to project.
All right. Anything else in this race? All right. We're currently about 2 minutes to post at Turfway here. I was not smart enough to get banners ready for the live racing that was going on. But you guys got anything here? You guys playing anything at Turfway?
I took a look. So I did play a pick 3 actually. I had the 7 and the 8 here. A little surprised that the 8 is kind of sitting as your current favorite right now. I guess I didn't really know who the favorite would be because there was quite a few scratches of horses that were going to take money in this spot. But yeah, I mean the 8, both of my horses I kind of tagged here are both dirt horses. The 8 is a horse who I like more than the 7 to be sure. It has good speed figures, has speed, doesn't need the lead. Was trying to close into a slow pace last time off at the Fairgrounds. Made up good ground, but couldn't quite get there. Should be fitter here, second off the layoff, and just kind of find it interesting that he kind of shows up here at Turfway when he's been raced at Fairgrounds, kind of stabled at Fairgrounds or Indiana Grand, and then kind of shows up here for this spot in a protected spot. So I thought he was pretty interesting, but apparently so does everybody else. So the 7's the other horse I kind of liked, just getting all the class relief in here. Essentially the one time he was at the appropriate class level, he got the job done. For some reason, they keep trying to make him a high class router, and that just doesn't really seem to be in the cards for this fella. So I'll give him one chance on a drop in class on the cutback here.
Yeah, I'm on 3 of the outside horses. I'm on the 9, the 10, and the 12 here. I don't know. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what's going on at Turfway right now. It looks like speed is still pretty good. I don't know if necessarily it's 100% speed as much as I think you just want to be forward right now at Turfway. So obviously the 10 is looking right now is currently your favorite. At 3-1 or co-favorite at least, along with the 8. One time here broke its maiden here, and then next time out improved, but they kind of had that figure as a breakout figure. They got it with the end notation, so that figure could be a little suspect, but still, that 104 looks pretty good with this team, this group. And then the 12 coming in here for George Arnold, Dylan Machado. This is a horse that's shown speed going shorter, so obviously only going a half furlong longer and on synthetic here. I thought he would be in part of the pace pressure. And then I thought the 9 was interesting here with that huge number coming off of Fairgrounds last time, going wire to wire there. Granted, that figure is about 10 points faster than anything he's done, and that was at a mile. So, but if you go back, I mean, some of those synthetic races he had at GP last year looked pretty good. So I'm 9, 10, and 12 here. I got a pick 4 still going, so I'm still alive in that. And they just popped the gate there. And it looks like the 9 and 12 are going to go to the lead here. So,
I gave a long look to your 9, Josh, because that last Fairgrounds fig came back good. I just don't know that I could get around to it. Horse was 1 for 26 prior to that race, and that figure just kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere. But I did give him a long look, thinking he might be able to repeat. And so far, you got to be pretty happy if you back the 9 so far. At least get the root for half the race.
He's looking awfully brave out there, though.
Yeah, he's not getting much pressure, that's for sure.
No, he's
under a bit of a
well,
drive
I think
already.
he's done already.
Getting
So I
stripped.
think it's
12's
9 or
on
10
full
from here.
drive. 10's trying to roll, but Josh's 9 is. I don't want to jinx you, Josh, but
Well, my
Hopefully
7
it's
is out
not.
the back. It looks like it's going to be Josh's 9, or who's on the outside at the 8?
or somebody there's somebody from out of
I think his
the
9's
cloud.
gone though.
It looks like it from here. I mean,
Oh, he's getting
He's
real
got-
short now.
He's wandering, but no one else is running behind him really.
there's nothing behind him.
Well, you have the 3 too, don't you, Josh?
There's
No,
also
you don't.
the
Oh,
3 from out of the clouds, but no, he's
no,
gone.
9's gone. Good pick.
All right.
Very nice, Josh.
Wow, my
Very
7
nice.
fell at the back of the field. He's going to get up for 3rd. That's too funny.
I'm
That is the
telling you,
biggest
so-
Z pattern of all time.
So like I said, I was talking a lot with Louis because we were doing we recorded some stuff for his Friday show on radio in Louisville, and I was just telling him, I was like, you gotta like watch some of these nights at Turfway and just take note of horses like your 7 that just basically have no shot to win because of just the track profile and just where these jocks are putting the horse at. I mean, on a fairer track, maybe that horse is just coming charging and just taking notes of that and trying to do that kind of stuff and figure that out.
I should have had the
Give
horse
you a
just
little nudge.
than the Delta shipper angle. Jeez.
Oh, there you go. Well, live in the pick 4 still, and that's going to be a nice separator. And now I'm like double checking my tickets to make sure I'm like wasn't talking about the wrong horse.
That's a nice one in the pick 4.
That's
He's going
nice,
to play
man.
big.
Very nice, Josh.
Please tell me. Yeah, 9, 10, 12. Cool. All right. But we'll move on to the Saturday feature at Turfway. And that's Santa Anita. The Saturday feature at Turfway, the Battaglia Memorial. We're going to be going to mile 16th on the synth here. For 3-year-olds, $175,000. 20 Derby points to the winner here. Caleb, I'll let you go first. What did you land here?
I went back and forth on this race, honestly, because I viewed it as it's a difficult race for me because I can't really find ways to knock the short priced horses too much. I mean, I would say that, perhaps a horse like Street Beast is your most likely winner. So he looks fine, right? I mean, he's got 3 wins and a second out of 5 starts. He's got a win at Turfway going a route of ground. He can come a little bit off the pace. He can go to the lead. But he's just not exciting, I guess is kind of my take on him. I thought he had everything his own way in that last time out. in the Leonidas Stakes. You know, the post I think doesn't do many favors here. I find it's always more difficult for these high cruising speed, but don't necessarily need the lead types to work out a pressing trip from the rail. So I mean, I think he's fine. I've nothing really against him, but I just decided there's probably horses that I think are maybe a little more interesting, elsewhere. So to me, I mean, I could talk about a bunch here, but I'll just kind of pick, the one that I found perhaps most intriguing. And I kind of hope he gets in for that matter, because that is the number 13 Small Town, who's drawn way out in the parking lot, currently on the also eligibles list. But this is a horse who, debuted sprinting here at Turfway. It took a decent bit of money to go off at 3-1 or so. And then one first time out. For Mike McCarthy, not a guy that wins a ton first time out, usually does better second time. Has improved recently on that, but nevertheless, this horse had a very professional debut. Took a bump at the start, was able to track the leaders and kind of clear and motor away, turning for home. I mean, kind of ran like a horse that should be fine going 2 turns. Spitestown on the top is more speed, but there's a ton of stamina on the bottom of that pedigree. So for me, I mean, I just thought that was a real impressive kind of debut effort. The speed figure came back pretty fast on time form. It did anyway. It kind of came back as a 96. I'm expecting something in the low to mid hundreds is probably what wins this race. So for a second time out, it doesn't take a whole lot of improvement for this horse to take that step forward. You're getting, we'll see kind of who you're getting, I suppose, in order of preferences once we see the scratches. But presumably you're getting Walter Rodriguez aboard, given his other mount that's in the body of the field is 30-1. So it never hurts to get the leading rider. So for me, I just thought Small Town was kind of an interesting player, kind of on the outside here. I did think there was probably a bit more speed in this race compared to what we saw in the Phillies race that we just covered. I don't think it's a crazy hot pace, but I do think there's enough to keep things honest. So for me, a lot of ways you can go in here. If somebody said, I'm just taking the 1 or 2 favorites and taking my chances with the Street Beast in full effort, I think that's fine, honestly, because I think they're likely winners. But I do think there's just more opportunity for some value at a place like Turfway that those horses don't do a ton for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on this 13. I mean, if this 13 gets in, like I wrote down B just because, I don't know if he gets in. Also, I know Walt's, I think, off his mounts tonight. So I don't know if he had a spill or what happened. I kind of missed some of the earlier races. So, but yeah, looking at the other horse he's nominated on or named on here, I'm assuming that this is his first preference. And if he's healthy and he's riding, I love Small Town's chances if he draws in. Of the short prices, I kind of went with the 11 full effort as my top pick. And I just kind of, what we were talking about before that race, that race, you kind of look, he was really the only horse that kind of made up ground in that race. I mean, I guess the one passed a couple horses and to finish 5th, but I mean, that race basically kind of, the pace held in that race, and he kind of came from 6th and was able to kind of close into that race. So I upgrade that effort a little bit, especially, like I said, with how speed favoring Turfway Park has been some days. So, Vinny Shemno stays aboard here. I guess that's okay. And, but I think of the short prices, he's the one I prefer. It does have that 107 at Kentucky Downs, but, a 107 at Kentucky Downs could be like a 107 at Parks, could be a 80 at Churchill Downs, like nobody knows what that figure means. But, backed it up with 100 at Keeneland. So I think that he's obviously right there in there. And then honestly, I really like this 9, Stop the Car. If this horse takes the synthetic, I mean, I think that this horse is in here with a really big shot, because like this is a lightly raced horse, tried the Lecomte last time and was well bet in that Lecomte, right? It wasn't like he was a no-hoper in that race. He didn't run well whatsoever. He was kind of just 4 wide the entire way. He faded, and he was never a player in that race. But he was bet down to 9-2. So obviously some people saw something in that horse, and that 104 at Churchill Downs. I mean, honestly, if he can get back to that number on synthetic, I mean, I think that puts him right in the conversation, and you're getting 8-1 on the morning line. Brendan Walsh has just been winning everywhere. I mean, he's just been on fire, I think, to start the year. And he does well with these synthetic horses. So I really do like the 9 here, and I think there was a stat I had. No, I did not. I thought I got to confuse another race because I thought him and Morales were actually really good, but actually they're only 8%, 13% over the year, but only 8% at Turfway Park. But Brendan Walsh, 17% synth trainer, and he does well with these types. So I do think that that Stop the Car is definitely in here with a bit of a shot. But Mark, where did you land?
Yeah, so Street Beast makes some sense in here. I think this is a horse that can definitely win. Fast pace on the pace projectors. It should be on the engine, and we'll see how far I can take this field. But the horse I'm most interested to bet, and I'm going to probably build some pretty big wagers around this, is the 7-horse Atfield. And obviously my affinity for Tom Morley knows no bounds, and everybody knows that I love a Morley horse. But this is a horse I was really interested in prior to his Saratoga debut, looking at the works. Prior to that maiden special weight, he was a horse that's been working really well. It's just Morley horses normally take a race, and there was a massive pick 6 carryover into that day, and I said, geez, that horse just can't win. Schwarzenegger, the 1-9 West Ward horse, was just going to run off the page. And needless to say, I got boomed by Atfield at the wire at a stupid price, and it cost me a pick 6, which paid very, very, very well. I think that was a 6-figure pick 6 at the Saratoga. So I was very, very interested in Atfield prior to that. Horse came back in the futurity at Aqueduct. Was a little green, was not the best of races, but I think this horse was always intended to be stretched out. I think this horse ends up longer term as maybe a this kind of trip on turf or synthetic, going this sort of 9-10 panel type of race. But that Central Park was a nice race, and the horse's form has been trending the right way. If you believe Synthetic Tommy's pedigree says that this one should really handle the move to synthetic, and this horse should set a really nice trip here. Should has enough speed to be forwardly placed. Is not going to get kind of kicked out the back. Should kind of be able to set that sort of pocket trip. And if you believe that last out synthetic figure, that last out turf figure, and if it translates to synthetic, I think Atfield's a really interesting player here at a pretty nice price. So I really like Atfield, and I'm going to probably be building some plays around. I'll probably have a win bet here, and I might try to maybe some doubles or some pick 3s or something where I key around Atfield at a bit of a price, who I think is the horse I'm most interested in betting in this sequence.
I have bad news for you, Mark. Vekoma is only 18% in synthetic routes, which is actually below his total race record average. Because he's a 20% sire. He's only 18% synthetic route, 5 for 27. Only surface he's worse at, turf sprints, only 13% turf sprinting.
Huh. Okay. I mean, okay.
It's fine.
So you're talking about I'm going to get 18% on an 8-1. The maths, right? Like that's the kind of thing you take a stab at. So yeah,
I knew, and I think I even mentioned to Louis, I'm like, Mark is going to be all over this horse. I already know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Mark literally is just. And also, by the way, Caleb, don't think I didn't hear that little like burp you had. Like, I understand that Mark's Tom Morley love just made your stomach turn a little bit. So
it has. It really has. I mean, I don't mind the horse either, right? But when he pulls out synthetic Tommies to get there, it's just.
He's a 402 on synthetic Tommies. Yeah. Yeah. The number that they took away and then they brought back. So, I mean, we don't know how all that works. But, yeah. Anything else on this race?
If we have a bit of time, I mean, there were a few others I kind of thought were like interesting in passing. I mean, if the 13 doesn't draw in, a horse I think is similar with maybe a bit less upside is the number 2 Steel Imperium. blew the doors off the field in his maiden debut. Is drawing much better, is bred to stretch out like we've talked about. He's one that I find a little bit interesting. And I do think you will get a pretty healthy price on him, whereas I could see a horse like Small Town getting bet down a little bit. And then just curious, I can't remember if anybody mentioned him so far, but the third short-priced horse in the race, I guess, would be number 12, Two Out Hero. Josh, did you mention that horse at all, or did anybody? Just general thoughts on the horse.
No.
I mean, coming out of a pretty decent grade one, and for 2-year-olds, but Woodbine hasn't been seen in a while. I mean, not sure what we're going to get here, but the class is certainly there.
I didn't give him a look at
yeah,
all.
I didn't give him a look at all either. So
I saw. So I looked at him, and then at least on Bayer, basically all of the horses that have run back have regressed from that race. So I don't know. I don't know if I guess how good the field was in there that he raced against, and I mean, granted, right? He won by 12 lengths in his debut on synthetic, right, going 6 furlongs. But I don't know. I guess Warfront, you assume that hey, he's cool going long. Liam's map, tends to be a little bit, kind of like mile is about what you want to go. So maybe you have some questions about pedigree, but hey. Look at the synth. Look at the synth, Tommy. You got a 401, man. Maybe this is. Maybe that's the key here. Like,
yeah, he's a short priced horse that I think might be a bit overlooked, and probably the one I'd be most inclined to use. Like, I don't like full effort. I mean, this horse takes a beating at the window every time, and just kind of tends to. I don't think he's all that good, truthfully. Kind of runs with his friends for the most part. Street Beast, he might be good. I mean, I'll give him a little more credit, but I think Two Out Hero. I mean, maybe the figures weren't the best in the Woodbine in the summer stakes, but I don't know if I really care. I mean, that was September of 2025. We're 6 months later. That's 10 years later in 2-year-old maturity timelines. So I'm just kind of Wild Desert was a pretty highly regarded Appleby horse at one point. Argo is kind of disappointed, but in the Breeders' Cup. But nevertheless, I mean, I think of the short prices, he's one I'd probably give a look to.
one of the horses we didn't talk about was the 8-horse Great White, who I actually thought was a little bit interesting in here at a pretty big price. Horse won at Turfway, on debut. Pretty impressive performance. Threw up a nice figure in that, and then it has a pretty brutal trip second time out in black type stakes. Who got beat by 2 others in here, Street Beast and Full Effort, but was a step slow, was checked at the start, and was kind of getting there late. A second time long is sometimes an improvement angle. Pedigree is there to say that this one handles, this is the kind of trip this one really wants, and does have a local win. So I thought Great White was at least worth a little bit of a look here at what will probably be a pretty stout price.
all right. Anything else in this race? All right. Let's start taking a look at Santa Anita then. We got 3 good stakes or 3 good turf races, not stakes races. We do start with a stakes race, which is race 7 here at Santa Anita. We have the Wishing Well Stakes, 6 furlongs on the turf, restricted stakes race for fillies and mares 4-year-olds, and up $100,000 up for grab here. And I thought that this was kind of a 2-horse race. I think the morning line favorite, the 6 Gratefully, looks pretty tough in here. Mark probably just vomited all over the place because it's Florent and Giroux. But I don't know. There's a very, very big lack of speed in this race. And, I know I'm betting Flo on the speed horse. I deserve everything I get, right, for that. However, I am backing that up using the first time in U.S. horse, the 4 Saratoga Special for Richard Baltas here. Hector Barrios sees fit to ride. And we've seen this with these European turf horses. That last time out, he ran a 104 time form number overseas. Those numbers tend to go up when these horses ship over. So I think that the form isn't necessarily there. I mean, he did have 2 wins last year in Jessica Harrington's barn. But seemed to kind of go, off and on, hot and cold a little bit. But I did think that race at York was pretty good. So I think first time in the U.S. He's 5-1 in the morning line. We'll see what
She
price we
even.
get, or she. Thank you. We'll see what price we get here. Baltus doesn't really do this much with first time in NA. He's 0 for 2 over the last couple of years, but he's 23% first time with him. So, and I mean, him and Hector Barrios I think they're 2 for 6 to start the meet. So, I don't know. A lot of things to like, I think, for the 4 Saratoga Special. So, those are the only 2 horses I'm going to use. I'm going to use the 4 and the 6 here. Mark, where did you land?
Yeah, the 6 can beat me. And I'm sure Caleb's gonna be on the same boat here. Florent Giroux on a speed horse. There's so many things to hear. I can't even no, just not gonna happen. The 6 can just beat me, and I'm totally fine with that. Do very much agree with you on your 4-horse Saratoga Special. I think it's an interesting player shipping in from overseas. Obviously connections have done really well. The other horse I thought was a little interesting here was the 8-horse Egyptian Mao, who, given the sort of race complexion here, there should be enough pace for this one to run into. And I think getting back to this sort of flat 6 after having come down the hill a few times, I think should kind of move this one up. So I thought Egyptian Mao, the 8-horse, was another one in here that could kind of pick up the pieces as this comes apart. But I want no part of the 6, who's going to be, I'm sure, quite a bit shorter than 2-1, probably in the more 7 to 5-ish sort of range. And I just don't trust the jock change, and I just really honestly don't trust the form. Sometimes of these it's hard to describe, but this just feels like the type of horse that you're supposed to try to beat. So, Caleb, thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I have the opposite opinion. I think the 6 wins this race for fun. I get Florent Drew is not a jockey that I ever look to bet. I get it, right? But if that was Rispoli, you would be backing up the truck with 2 hands. If that was almost anybody else,
True.
And I'm like,
Literally
this field is just
anybody
not
else,
that. It's just not that good. I mean, if it wasn't Juan Hernandez on the 8, you wouldn't be on him either. So I just don't see a way that, unless Flo really just monumentally screws up the ride. I mean, there's not any speed in the race, really. I mean, maybe a bit with the 9. Fresu may decide to send, given the post there. I do have a bit of interest in the 9 because of the pace complexion, and it does just seem like he's a horse that really runs well at Santa Anita and not nearly as well anywhere else. So I will have the 9 on a ticket or 2, but I do think it's the 6 is certainly the horse to beat. Besides those 2, I don't really see much speed in the race. I don't know what we get out of the 3, but I'm not really holding my breath for much there. So, for me, I mean, it's 6, and then I kind of have the 9, and then Josh's 4 Saratoga Special is kind of a B type players in here. But I do think Gratefully is going to be a handful if she's 2/3 of the horse she looks on paper.
Anything else in this race? All right, we got 6 minutes to post here at Turfway Park, race 9, going a mile here on the synth track. Caleb, I assume you're dead in the pick 3. Did you run back to double?
I did not, honestly. Only because of this race. This race sucks. And this is like my kryptonite of a race, is when you have 2/3 of the field who are going to be 1 for 20, 1 for 30, 2 for 50, whatever. Like these kind of races, I can't bring myself to bet. I assume they're like, who are they betting here? The 10 maybe?
The 12.
The 12. Yeah. I mean, the 12, I guess. I mean, 1 for 9, that's a little more passable, but there's just too many horses in here that I think are, that I have no interest in betting, and it's tough for me, right? So I don't think I'm going to play anything here. If I did, my opinion here is more betting than it is handicapping, where I'm going to take a shot on a horse like maybe the 8 or the 10, who are both big prices and at least not proven losers, 1 for 10 and 1 for 8 lifetime, not 1 for 30. So maybe I take a shot with the 8, 10, 11 or something like that, the less exposed, medium priced horses. and just let a horse like the 12 or 5 or whoever else just beat me. But I did not like this race.
Yeah, I basically like all the horses, or I have all the horses that you said you don't want to beat you. So, either you're going to be unhappy that that you didn't play, or I'm going to be unhappy that your horses beat me. But I'm on the 5, the 9, and the 12 here. I mean, I kind of agree with you. I'm like, at least the 5 is 1 for 7.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, right, that race was 3 back, but it does have a couple of, or at least has one Turfway race that kind of fits in here with this group. So, I think last time ran fine. Gomez is 2 for 6 to start the meet here. So. Eduardo Caramori, just 1 for 10 off to a little bit of slow start in limited sample size. Yeah, I thought the 9 made a bunch of sense, but first off the claim after kind of running a stinker last time, we'll kind of see. I honestly just thought that this horse might be forward, and the way the track was playing, kind of the same thing with the 5. I thought those were kind of your forward horses, and then I just thought the 12 was the best horse in this race, and hoping he's more of a light bulb type horse, where hey, he broke his maiden last time out, close to the pace, and maybe just kind of was too far back in that last effort. So hopefully Edgar Morales can be a little bit more aggressive and maybe keep him a little bit closer to the pace here, but. Yeah, I got the 5, the 9, and the 12 here in the pick 4, and 4 for 5 in the pick 5 here.
Ooh, that's rough, man.
What?
You had the 9 in the last, but you're 4 for 5.
Yeah, I played.
5?
I ran back to pick 4, but I got boomed in the first leg. Yeah,
dude, that's rough. That's brutal,
man. David Barista, he's got the 5-9 exacta box here. And he's got 5-4 double at Turfway Park, so he sees it. He sees it similar to me. I saw our friend Jin Hannes in Discord. I know he's on the 5 or 9. So hopefully we're right, and hopefully I get a root in the last race. The last race I thought was kind of. I thought I had trouble with the last race, so I think I just kind of wussed out and took a couple of short prices in that race. But we'll kind of see here. But we still got 2 minutes to post here. OG Howdubs here saying, "What's up, fellas? What's going on?" He's alive in the pick 3 at Turfway, so he's also alive. See what he has. We got David Barista with the 5-9. I'm on the 5-9-12. Caleb hates all my horses.
I don't hate your 5. I had the wrong horse in mind. But yeah, 5 and 12, not for 12 is okay, I guess. I mean, I agree. He probably has the best horse, but a favorite in this race just feels like death to me.
Mark, I feel like your name does need to be spelled with a C.
Really? We're spending okay.
I think Mark, you seem like a Mark with the C, not a K.
So as a kid, I always wanted to be spelled with a C. I thought it would be just way cooler, but we can do.
Yeah. OG Howdubs, he's on the 5 and 12. So these 3 horses are mushed to Kingdom Come. So this is the time where like the 2 or the 13 wins at complete no hoper. So, looks like they're heading here.
What do you have? What do you have here, Josh? Because I blind bet this race. So
5-9-12.
Ooh, I played a 1-11-12. Okay.
Okay. The 1, I thought, I mean, he's possibly inside speed. I don't know. Like, I feel like on synthetic, he hasn't really been that fast. Most of his speed's been on dirt. But I don't know.
I'll go bet it. So
yeah, it's always weird when you get these like 12, 13 horse fields and you don't see a fast pace, because I feel like Timeform always has, or almost always has, these like bigger fields as like fast paces. I feel like, just because I think the sheer number of horses. And it's also tough too, right? Because you get all these horses that, like, before they come to Turfway, right? They're used to running like in like 6, 7 horse fields, and so like they end up much more forward than they probably would in a bigger field. So, but they're loading in the gate here. Cobb hasn't commented. He comments Mark. That reminds him of a story, but he hasn't commented at all about the fact that when we were talking about the races, we moved the banner to the top like he requested.
Like you requested, and we didn't. We got nothing out of him.
I know.
It's you can't keep that guy happy. Just like you just needs need.
What a
so much
story.
stuff, man.
In 7th grade, my crush said she loved my last name, then said it totally wrong. So I went home and asked my mom if I could change it.
Caleb never had that happen in his entire life. There's no way.
My last name's pretty easy to pronounce.
That's true.
All right, well, the 5 gets out to the lead, and this 8 is deciding he just wants to fuck everything up.
And my 1 is rank as hell. Excellent.
I mean, I just got to hope that this 8 is just...
Oh, I see why you bet the 1. It's old Red Wing.
Oh, no. All we needed is, like, Dylan Machado on him or some trained by someone named Larkin or something like that. Who knows what else here. I mean, the 5 looks like he's traveling all right. The 8's already done. I don't like what this 3's doing.
Oh, the 5 looks like he's got a lot of horse. He's still
We got
hand
on the
riding.
outside.
That's
The
the
Paul
6 on
McEntee
the
horse.
outside.
6 is rolling.
All these
Cobb
fractions
mushing
are
me.
also just glacial. I mean, even for this level, that's almost a 1/16.
I think the 6 has got him.
I don't know.
I don't think he does.
There you go.
All right. We were going to see a payoff leg.
We get a sweat going.
We got a sweat. We'll see. We got 4 out of 5 coming into the next race, and then we got a little pick 4 that hopefully should pay a couple hundred. I think with the big price and the.
I think you're getting all that.
So,
I'd be surprised if you're less than 4 fig here.
well, I think I have those 2 short prices next race. Who do I have in the next race? I have the 2 and the 4 in the next race. So I think. Yeah, I think they're going to be your 2 favorites or 2 short prices. Oh, the
I
1
think
might
even
take some money too.
I would think even getting a favorite there, Josh. Just given what stuff look like, I think you're gonna get at least $1,000.
No, I'm betting the Anna Maya horse, so I deserve all I
Alright.
get.
Dude, life's all about choices.
All right. Let's move on to race 9 here at Santa Anita while this goes official. Oh, that's the wrong race 9. Leg 2 of the turf pick 3. 6.5 furlongs in a downhill turf. Optional claimer $50,000 for 4-year-olds and up, $70,000 up for grabs. Mark, I thought this race was completely wide open, so I'm hoping you have some brilliant, like, hey, this horse wins this race like 20 times out of 25. Like, what do you got here?
No, it's a really, really, really tough race. I kind of whittled it down to 2 top choices here. And I think one of the 2 top is going to be the 10 horse Animar Hall, who is your he's going to end up probably being your morning line favorite for this race. Horse does have a win going this trip at Santa Anita 2 back, and also won a race going 6.5 at Kentucky Downs. So horse that it clearly has some range. Last time out, something went south. Kind of hit the rail, was pulled up. Sort of a weird trip. But comes back on the spot. So I think Animar Hall is a really interesting player. In this spot. If the horse runs back, if the gelding runs back to to that I don't know, the last couple of efforts, should be kind of a major player in here. But the horse that's a little bit of a price that I'm interested in here is the 3-horse Double Jab. A horse that's been, on quite a long layoff. And in some of it does have a couple of figs that kind of, honestly, the last couple of figs would make this one a player in here. But, Andy Mathis's, stats off the long layoff, he's 29% off a greater than 180-day layoff with a $4.31 ROI. And when he puts Herrera up, he's hitting about 20% as well. So I thought there was a chance that Double Jab here could kind of take him, at least could take him a long way on the front end. If you look, I think it was at 4 back. This horse, the one time on the downhill turf, wired a field, but that was disqualified and placed 4th. Horse seems to handle this trip and handle this downhill turf course. So I thought the 3-horse Double Jab was the other horse that I was pretty darn interested in the spot. But I think for me, if I get much past those two, I have to get pretty deep. So interested to see how Caleb can tell me just how wrong I am.
No, I don't hate those picks at all. Amner Hall, he's fine. I mean, the good version of Amner Hall wins this race. I think there's reasons to be a little alarmed. I mean, he's coming off of a voided claim. He's coming off of a 2-month layoff. He's a 7-year-old gelding now. And they're dropping him in class after running him at higher purse levels more recently. So I do sort of think I'm a little worried. He probably makes a ticket of mine because I thought his 2-back race was quite good, and his 3-back race for that matter at Kentucky Downs is quite strong. But on raw figures, I don't think he's much of a standout in this field. I think he's just a consistent performer that likes the down the hill turf course. But the voided claim and layoff does kind of concern me a little bit there, if we're being 100% honest. Double Jab, I'm a little bit surprised Mark ended up there, but I think that horse is very usable in here. Not my favorite jockey by any stretch. I also kind of, am worried about the layoff even more so for him, coming off of a, almost a year long now layoff, after beating up on Calbreds for most of his career. Is the 6-year-old gelding going to fire, the race he needs off a year-long layoff against Open Company? I'm not sure. But I think that is kind of more compensated with the price, because I think you get every bit of that 10-1 for Double Jab. For me, I'm going to double down on another horse ridden by Florent Drew, who's also not in the body of the field. I'm really hoping the 14 Beef Winslow draws in.
Yeah.
I think if Beef Winslow gets in this race, he's close to a single A for me. He loves Santa Anita. I mean, he likes to win. He wins out of the chute. He wins down the hill. He's just a very consistent performer. Not really a blemish on his record to be found. And some people may look at those claiming races and say, oh, well, this is a move up in class, but I don't really think that it is. In California, I'm not sure there's really a big gap between, an open claiming and an optional claiming 50 at the same level. And I think he's been running, good enough races to win here. So if he gets in, he is my top pick for sure. I probably will have, Mark's picks on a ticket somewhere as well. But this was an interesting race. Josh, where'd you end up?
Yeah, I kind of saw it similar to you. I mean, I was very, very wide. I like both of Mark's horses. I like the 3 Double Jab in here. I also like the 10 Amner Hall. I also gave a look to the 5 Yowclef in this spot. Hector Barrios gets aboard here. I think what I was kind of doing is I was looking back, and Yowclef, that last race.
Shiloh murdering in the background?
Oh, is that Shiloh?
That's what is that? He is destroying something in the background.
He's getting his bed right before he lays down.
Oh, it's his bed. I was worried it was like your carpet, and I was like, what is he doing back there?
No.
Yeah, I was looking. I like the 5 Yowclef because he's got that nice race last time going down the hill here. He finished second in that race, and kind of came from a bit off of it there. So I'm kind of hoping that he's able to run kind of back to that race. Obviously, the 3 Double Jab has got to win on this on this track, this configuration, going down the hill, going wire to wire, 4 back, and that was kind of a he's inside drawn here, so he's really only got one way to go, which is to kind of go, and then obviously the 10. I mean, if the 10 is fine and recovers from being pulled up there after hitting the rail, I mean, I think he's going to be very, very tough in here. I agree with you on Beef Winslow. Such a cool horse. This horse loves going down the hill. He goes down the hill and it's like you can just dial up a 90 buyer, right? He's just going to do it. And then I think the only other horse I used was I gave the 12 a look, Bally Vaughn gig. And
well, hold
honestly,
on. You gave the E8 a look. I'm shocked.
Exactly. Outside drawn speed, down the hill. I mean, of course you got to use it, right? But I gave him a look. And I mean, that last race I thought was pretty good. The buyer gave that one an 84. And I think that was the first time, at least the first time in a long time, he'd run down the hill. Time form also gave it a nice number, gave it a 110. He does have a 112 going 5 at Del Mar, so I was very spread here. I was 3, 5, 10 as A's. I have the 12 and 14 as B's. I think if Beef Winslow draws in, though, I'm probably reconfiguring this a little bit. I'm going to be using some configuration of those 5 horses.
The real question is here: will Caleb play the all flow turf pick 3?
Ooh, I don't even know if I have him in the last race. That's a good question. But before we answer that question, one other horse I kind of just wanted to give a quick shout to is the number 11, De Capo. I don't know if this horse is how good he is, I suppose we'll say, but I don't think anybody does. I mean, he ran fine on debut. I mean, and then he came back and ran fine again, on his second time out going a mile, just kind of, just couldn't quite get there, lost by a length, smashes a field at Los Al, and then, doesn't do any running at Santa Anita. I think turf is obviously where this horse is meant. I mean, Mendelssohn on top, Pulpit on the bottom. That's, massive turf influence there. The Dam's already produced 2 turf winners from 6 starters. I think this horse is going to be best on turf, and it seems like right now maybe a down the hill sprint drawn outside with some speed is a pretty good recipe. The works coming into this race do kind of jump off the page, especially for John Sadler, a guy that doesn't always crank his horses like that. So expect to see this horse motoring out of the gate early, and just don't know how good he is. And at 15-1, I'll pay to find out.
Anything else in this race? All right.
I thought this was the toughest race of the sequence. I thought there was a lot of different ways you could go in there. And if you were going to buy a race, or at least some sort of spread ABC buy a race in the sequence, I think this race is the one to do it in.
Yeah, I thought it was tough.
Yeah, really tough.
All right, let's move on to race 10 here, the payoff leg 3 of the turf pick 3. And we're going to be going mile on the turf, 3-year-old fillies here. Maiden special weight, $70,000. Caleb, where did you land here?
Yeah, I thought this was, kind of a fun race. I don't think it's as wide open as maybe some of the others, depending on, especially if Beef Winslow draws in. Then I think that race gets a little bit easier. But right now, that's probably the hardest race. I agree with Mark. To me, I kind of think the runners that are exiting out of that January 11th race, struck by her, are kind of the main horses I'm sort of looking towards in this race. I think Urak is a very logical contender in here, probably going to be your favorite. 2 seconds by less than a length combined. I don't think it's too early to say this horse hangs or doesn't get by, but it is a bit of a concern when you look at John Sadler's barn overall and realize that he has 3 wins and 11 seconds on the meet so far. So I respect Urak, but kind of given the way those connections are going, I might be more inclined to take the horse right to his inside, Daring Pursuit. This horse was trying to make up a lot more ground in that race and was doing so. Made a nice rally to get up for third. That was the horse's debut effort. In that race, I mean, looks like he just was crying out for more ground. Pedigree suggests that 2 turns is going to be right in this horse's wheelhouse. And I just think there might be a touch more upside for a barn, and that's going a little bit better right now compared to the 10 with Urak and Sadler. So I might give the nod to Daring Pursuit to turn the tables on Urak. I do kind of think they're 2 of your maybe 3 most likely winners. The other horse I'll kind of give a nod to is the number 5, Cortina Dom Prezzo. I think this horse ran quite well. Also lost to Urak, funny enough. And it ran well. First time in the States off the layoff. I'm not as forgiving as others about first time in the U.S. because Phil D'Amato does outstanding first time in the U.S. This horse just wasn't quite good enough that day. I kind of think that she'll be better this time out now. Has had some time to mature, spent some more time in America. I do think she'll be better. And the horse that they both lost to, Brave Deb, went on to win a grade 3 out of that race. So for me, those are probably my top 3 would be in that order: Daring Pursuit, and then Urak and Cortina D'Amprezzo. I think there's a couple others that I could see someone making the argument for, but I guess I'm curious to see kind of where Mark landed first.
Well, I saw this race completely the opposite of what Caleb saw it, apparently. So, top choice for me in here is going to be the 6-horse Cherish Coin. I think this horse, if you believe the time form fig on that last out race, the horse doesn't even need to take a step forward. Runs back to the figure, probably wins this race. The issue with Cherish Coin is this is a horse that's going to be coming from a million miles out of it, coming out of the clouds and flying late. Needs a perfectly timed ride, and you have to hope that Fresu can deliver that. Now he can deliver that, but with those type of horses and those types of runners, they need the perfect trip and they need the perfect setup. So this horse should be, at least how I'm seeing it, your morning line favorite. But does is going to need a perfect setup in here to kind of get it done. But I think Hot Barn, first time Lasix. There's a lot of things to like with the 6 Cherish Choir. Next horse I was interested in was the 9-horse Daring Pursuit for the Dan Blacker barn, another extremely hot barn. When Dan Blacker throws Hector Barrios up this year, they're 41% with a $3.06 ROI. And the sample size is 17 starters. So it's not like this is like a 2 or 3 starter thing that I'm picking a sample size out of. I think the horse probably had some, probably needed to start off the last. Now Blacker's not phenomenal with maiden second timers, but given how his barn's firing right now, I think this one is really well met in here. And I think the horse has every right to take a step forward off that last effort. So I thought Daring Pursuit, another one that's going to be coming somewhat off the pace as well, much like the 6 Cherish Choir. But I think those two are really interesting. And I think the horse I'm kind of most interested in is the 1-horse Channel Place. Jaramillo up for Doug O'Neill. I think the reason that Jaramillo came west was the Doug O'Neill barn. I think Doug was looking for that go-to rider, and it seems like he's been getting all of the Jaramillo. Jaramillo's been getting all of these live Doug O'Neill prices, and Doug O'Neill's barn's been firing so far this meet. So I think there's I know on paper this one doesn't seem like it's going to end up on the lead, but I think you're going to see an effort much like the 2-back effort when the last time they ran this one going a mile, where Fresu put this horse on the front end and the horse faded late. I think this horse probably goes to the lead, and I think that the field here is a little less classy than that previous 2-back field. So I think Channel's Place at 10-1 could take them an awfully long way on the front end.
So I'm sipping on this lovely, or just killed this bottle of 100% wheat whiskey, the Corsets Whips and Whiskey from Journeyman Distillery in Three Oaks, Michigan. Shout out to Journeyman. Really fun place to visit. And I'm just realizing that Mark and I landed on basically the same 2 horses. My top pick in this race is the 6 Cherish Coin, and the other A I have in this race is the 1 Channel Place. So there's absolutely no way we're getting 10-1 on this Jaramillo horse. But Jaramillo and Doug O'Neill are 27% to start the meet. This is a horse that's coming off a 46-second bullet last time out, and has improved in all 3 of his starts. So yeah, I think this is the time. I think for the one channel place here. Doug O'Neill off to a hot start here at Santa Anita, winning at 25%. So yeah, I think channel place is a big player in here, and I agree with you, Mark. I think the 6, not just time form, but the buyer figure also came back really well for that horse, and the horse from that race, the winner came back to win next out as well, and improved by 9 points in that race. So lost to some decent company there in that race at Santa Anita. So, yeah, I really like the 6 shares coin here. Interestingly, this is the first time Frazu's riding for Mike McCarthy all year, unless I'm misreading the statistics. But Lopa de Vega tends to be a precocious sire, and so I would think that this horse should be, firing something pretty good here in the next race or two. So I just got the 1 and 6 here to close this out. Nothing else. I don't have any B's at all.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little surprised you're both so high on the 6. I mean, to me, he had his setup last race, hit the front, and then still lost a length and a half from the stretch call to the wire. Yeah, the pedigree says he should run all day, but he's lost ground in both of those starts in the stretch. I just kind of wonder if if it's a heart issue, if it's a stamina issue, if the horse doesn't want to win. But it feels like he should have won that last race given the pace setup he had, and for him to kind of back up a little bit in the stretch, I was a little bit bothered by that. Coupled with the fact that go-to McCarthy rider at the moment is Kazushi Kimura, and for him to kind of not retake the mount and instead go to the 5 was a bit curious to me. So I get that it is a fast race. I'm not arguing that. I just wonder if this horse maybe has some limitations that aren't immediately apparent.
I don't hate that. I think that's a valid take here. Why the jockey change? It does make sense, and yeah, and I think when you see a horse that has that big outlier fig, but doesn't win, I think we've always talked about these, big figures in a losing effort. Are they a little bit suspect? Is that a little dressed up for whatever reason? Completely agree with the slight amount of Caleb hate.
Now at 4-1, that's not a bad price. I mean, I'll say that. But if he's 9-5, it's a different story, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just find it really interesting that normally the three of us all have some overlap, and it's. I mean, Josh and I were in agreement, but it's interesting that Caleb's such.
Quite different. And even the horses I've written down
weird,
as like C's, I would say. Like I had the 2 and the 4 written down as like other horses I would look at. Yeah. I mean, Split a bit of a reach, but I don't think with one start he looks any worse than any other horse in this race with one start. I mean, if you believe his time form figure, I mean 87 is already in the top third of this field. So for me, I mean, does he improve adding Lasix, second time out? I mean, probably. So I don't know. Tyler Bays is not a guy I look to bet frequently, but he did finally start to get a couple of wins recently. And the number 4, Daria, I mean, the European shipper for a barn that we talked about does very well with this move. Tiago is also, after starting off pretty cold, he's had a couple of winners recently as well. It went off a 50-1 in debut, but he did beat 10 runners home. So, he is one that I think, could also be a little bit usable going out for a local barn there in Little Red Feather. So for me, I thought there was a lot of ways to go. Clearly, we have made a case for over half the field. So maybe this is the race that's more spread than the others.
Yeah, no, I like your 4 as well. And I think the only other horse we haven't made a case for is the 12 horse Narita, the other Euro shipper in this race, who is another horse that's getting first time Lasix from a barn that's a really good angle for. So I didn't hate that one as well. I would like to see some other jock take the call, but there's some to like there as well. If you're saying, I know Caleb's poking some holes in some of the shorter prices here, which that's what you're supposed to be doing. So. I thought the 12 was usable in here at a price.
All right. Well, we got like 5 minutes to this last leg at Turfway. Caleb, did you play a double or anything? You said nothing, right?
No, I didn't do anything that last race. It was too bad for me. I do think. Well, Josh, what do you live to before we say that?
I have the 2 High Honors and the 4 Jolted.
Okay.
Pick 4.
I was gonna say I think this 4 is kind of a standout here personally. So I would be very high on the 4. That was going to be kind of my single on my pick 3. Only other horse I looked at a bit was all the way on the outside, the number 11. But I think it's 411, and I don't mind your 2.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I'm looking at the board here in this race, and this 12 is rather short in a lot of the horizontals for being 12-1 on the morning line. But it looks like he's 9-2, right? And he's getting bet down like crazy for Whit Beckman. So Rafael Hernandez aboard on that one. Maybe that one scares me a little bit. The 1 looks to be the favorite in some pools, but not all of them. I don't know. He didn't really do it for me. I thought the 4 looked a bit better than the 1 did, especially first time gelding, having run pretty well that last time out. And then I just thought the 2 was interesting, switching surfaces, having shown some speed, and I'm pretty sure. He's kind of off to a sneaky okay start with 6 wins here. This kind of seems to be a consistent type. Has been kind of running the same figures. So, but yeah, I thought the 4 looked really really good in this spot. So, Joe Ramos and Whit Beckman are 21% at Turfway. So hoping to get a little bit of that. Cobb says he likes the 1 because he just wants to see me suffer. So the 1 looked good, closing a slow pace last race, and ran as a front runner before that. What was OG live to? Did he say? Because I know he had the 5. He had the 5:12 last race. So let's see. He'll probably post what he's live to. I did see our boy Jin Hannes hit a nice little ticket with that 5 last race. So shout out to him. Had a $10 pick 3 that he ended up collecting $4K for that. So shout out to Jin on that one. Cobb's talking about Santa Anita. Okay, thank God. Oof. Looking, let me pull up what we got looking at next week. Because next week, is kind of the run of the end of the second level preps. And then, pretty soon we'll have the Louisiana Derby, which is the first, kind of 100-point prep. But next weekend, we got the Gotham and the Busher, which are the mid-level preps at New York. And then we'll be obviously running. Gulfstream Park has always got a really, really nice card for the Fountain of Youth. I think they got like 8 stakes races that day. Between the Fountain of Youth, they got a bunch of stakes races, a bunch of turf stakes races. They got the Here Comes the Bride on the turf, and then the Devona Dale. So those will be some really, really big races. And then obviously, heck, we even have the Razorback next week, right? Which is always a kind of fun little race. And then the week after that, we move into the Rebel and the Tampa Bay Derby, and then Big Cap. So we're gonna be we're gonna be right in it, man. Actually, no, the Rebel is March 1st. So wait, when are they running the Rebel? Are they running the Rebel? They're running the Rebel on a Sunday, huh?
Are they?
Really?
Yeah, so it is next week. Interesting.
That's weird.
I feel like I haven't seen that ever since they had to do the 2 split versions of the Rebel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it'll be on Sunday. See, I'm telling you, man, the weather just messed everything up.
Yeah.
It just messed everything up, and I was just kind of trying to figure out what was going on with the stakes calendar and with these turf races, or these points races. So next week then we're gonna have a lot to talk about. I think I'm going to see if I can get our friend the Wolf of Oak Lawn to join us and hop on stream with us and talk some Oak Lawn. As we're loading into the gate here, I got the 2-4. OG just says at Turfway. I don't know what he's got, but he's got something. He's live to something, I know. He's got a pick 3 cooking here. Caleb likes my 4, so that's either great or the kiss of death. I can't tell which one it is.
I don't know how that is a Turfway. Generally not good, but I don't know. The fact he's 3-1. I mean, I thought he might be even shorter than that, but there is money going to the 1, 2, and 12. I did mush your 4 though. I bet him to win.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm just trying to get him the better price.
It's actually pretty. It's pretty even. I think it's like 1,200 to the 4 and like 1,600 to the 2. Whoa!
9 just freaked out in the gate.
What do you live for a base here, Josh?
Yeah, just based on the pick 4.
Still, that's good, man. I'm not saying Lopez, so.
That 15% pick 4, man. Like it's usually one of the higher takeout
like
bets, so it's usually.
It's like free money, you know.
What's going on here? They backing the 9 out.
So they're backing the 1 out.
Oh, I don't like that.
Or the 2 out, maybe. Somebody on the inside. Oh, that was the 9. Okay.
Yeah. I always hate when you have like the speed horse and they just sit in the gate more and more and more because they're backing this damn horse out that doesn't want to run. This is Hong Kong. They just be like, all right, you're done. The 4 broke real clean.
Yep.
It's a wide open betting race.
So you got 4 and what else here, Josh?
2. So I got the 2 horses on the lead.
So you bet the 2 E8s.
I've just been betting E8s all night.
So this is Josh bet Josh horses. Okay, cool.
This is like where like watching races, I can never tell like before, like is he already empty or is he just like super confident?
I think it's probably in the middle. I don't think he's empty, but he's not looking over his shoulder, you know.
I
think
feel like
this
the
first
looking over
now?
the shoulder is like the kiss of death, though.
I know. I hate it too.
Can we end this now?
I think the
Oh,
Ford's getting
gosh.
a little tired
Yeah, I
here.
think the
Oh,
time's got him.
Josh.
I don't know. Speed's been carrying, but maybe if it gets him eye to eye, he might dig in here for the last 16.
Josh, sorry, bud.
Damn.
Damn.
At 12.
Oh, it was the 12. It's even worse if you had the 10. God.
Played a 4, 10, 12 exacta box. Why didn't I play the try? God damn it.
Wow, and you got the 12-10?
Yeah.
Nice.
That 12 was taking tons of money. I just
Yeah, like I said, I had the wrong Whit Beckman horse apparently.
that sucks, man.
That's tough.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's a bummer, dude.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here on The Wrong Lead. Obviously, check us out at ontherwronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. I'm at Cherry Drink. Mark is at 2 Turns. Caleb's at Caleb WVU. We'll be live next week, same time, same YouTube channel. We'll be covering a ton of Derby preps. And, yeah. Hopefully, you guys have a good weekend, and let's make some money. Check out our friends at DRF and the AM Wager. Have a good weekend, guys.